just need to start off by saying I love the mellow beat that comes with the intro music. When the countdown is happening, I am just sitting in my chair, just jamming all by my little self to the beat of the music. I love it, love it, love it. But you guys are here. My name is Tiffany Bell. I am the host of the CEO Corner. And so I have the privilege and the honor of introducing women that are making a difference, not just in their local communities, but are really making an impact across the world, right? And so, again, I'm looking forward to being able to introduce to you all one of our CEO Affirmations Journal contributors. I'll introduce her in just a moment, but just in case you guys are not familiar, with affirmations, I want to talk a little bit about that. So, affirmations, I believe that affirmations are what helps to keep your mind in alignment with your goals, right? So how often do we start off, very excited about something, right? When we first get into it, we're really working to make sure that we can get whatever we need done. You might hit a challenge here, hit a challenge there, and along the way, you lose your speed, right? You lose that momentum, you lose your motivation, right? And so what affirmations are really designed to do is to kind of keep you pushing through. Affirmations are the things that you say to yourself to keep yourself empowered and motivated and focused so that you can accomplish your goals, so that you can move from point A to point B, right? And so I firmly believe in affirmations, right? So my affirmations that I say typically are dealing with things, one, that kind of keep me aligned spiritually, right? So that I have the right perspective. I said in a show earlier that I believe that life itself is something that you can't necessarily control. You don't know what's going to happen to yourself in life, but you do have somewhat of a bit of control just over yourself so that you can respond differently to life, right? And so again, our affirmations, the journals that we're producing, they're all about just kind of helping women to get themselves situated mentally and fixed on the goals that they have ahead of themselves, and not necessarily allowing themselves to get stuck into just kind of get stuck into the fog, into anything that may not necessarily that they may not have been planning to encounter. And so we have two journals. The first in the series is called Affirmations of a Woman on a Mission, right? And so this came out last October. Actually, we started recruiting for partners in October, right? But the book actually came out in December. And so it is 76 days of affirmations. If you have a chance to look inside, there's plenty of journaling space, right? But then there are also pages that actually have content on it, right? And so these our partners have written their affirmation in, so you can read that affirmation to yourself that day. This one right here says, "Grief does not define me. Happy is who I am." I love that. And that was given to us by Sharice Talina Bracely, right? And so, and then she talks a little bit, just to you on how you can apply that affirmation, right? And then this is her name. And at the very bottom, if you want to follow and contact any of the ladies that are part of our affirmation journal series, you can just click that link below. Again, if you're on a digital version, you can click the link. If you have your cell phone, you can scan the link, and it's going to take you to your page so you can get to know the women who have shared their success stories, because they genuinely care about making you a success as well. And so knowing that that's the case, if you're interested in getting a copy of that journal, feel free. You can go to uncommoncourage.cc/affirm women. One more time, uncommoncourage.cc/affirm women. You can get a copy of that. But if you hold on, if you're a CEO on the move, you'll want to hear, from our guest today, which is our next affirmation journal that's coming up. I will tell you more about how you can get a copy of that later on in the show. But for now, let me invite you to the stage. Let me invite our guest for today to the stage so you can get to hear a little bit about her and her success story and the things that she's doing to help you stay motivated and successful as well. So with that, today's guest is Reverend Coach Keever Lernise Murdaugh. She's a business leader and strategist that believes in reaching back to lift the next queen that's coming up behind her. She's an ordained minister, a multifaceted CEO, and a certified business and life coach. She enjoys being able to teach entrepreneurs how to confidently turn their vision into reality by increasing their visibility, credibility, and profitability. So, with that, help me welcome to the stage Miss Keever L. Murdaugh. So,
Hi,
hello, hello,
Joanne.
hello. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the CE Corner. I'm excited to have an opportunity to interview you. How are things holding up there in South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having me, first of all. This is indeed an honor and a pleasure to be able to share the stage with you. But South Carolina is South Carolina. One day is cold, one day is hot, and this pollen is
Yes,
trying to kill us, but
yes.
we're here sticking it out.
Yes, 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 yes. So my first encounter, ladies and gentlemen, with Keever was through her show. So I can't remember how I ended up being a guest, but I remember you reaching out and having an opportunity to interview. And one of the things that I was thoroughly impressed with, like your full setup was really smooth. Like it was extremely smooth, right? And I love, like again, just being a newbie to the whole to that whole kind of genre of online interview processes. I was just really impressed with your podcast. So we didn't mention that at all in your bio, but that is how I know her, is really through her online show. So I would love for you to share a little bit, about your show. Tell us, how did you come in creating it? What's your why? And then tell us a little bit about the people that you have on, just in case there's
Thank
somebody in
you.
the audience that would be a good connection for you.
You never know. You never know. Thank you so much. And I greatly appreciate it. Yes, we actually met through my show. My TV show and podcast is called Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. We have celebrated our 1 year anniversary. So I'm super
Congratulations.
excited about that. Yes. We launched right in the midst of COVID-19. And I felt within my heart that it was something that was much needed, because at the time, at the beginning of COVID, we literally, as entrepreneurs and business owners, had to learn to pivot and had to create, just think outside of the box in order to maintain visible, and also making sure that we were staying relevant in the beginning. Because if you were a door to door or in person and that was the nature of your business, we all suffered, right? Because that aspect of doing business was immediately halted and eliminated. So it was very important to shift and pivot within our business and just come up with creative ways and staying in front of our audience. So that's how Keeper's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show, was birthed, was being able to just allow that platform for entrepreneurs and business owners to be able to, still be present, still be relevant, and still be visible with their target audience. And what I love about doing shows and podcasts like this is that it actually took us outside of our boxes, and we were able to be global from the comfort of our own homes. So
Mhm,
that is
mhm.
something that is just, COVID did teach us a lot, especially in the way we do business. And it was so important to have a platform such as mine to just have that vehicle to keep those business owners and entrepreneurs present and in the minds of their target audience. So yeah, we cater to a variety of business professionals. We have
Okay.
authors on all the time. We have coaches, consultants mainly.
Okay.
And I'm proud to say that our demographics, when we launched a year ago, our demographics were 100% women, which I am so proud of that. But this year, we have actually shifted. So we have a, uh, a good mixture
Mhm,
between men and women. So our
mhm.
demographics now, we have 13% even men watching and listening to us as well. So even though we, cater towards women, I'm always here for my queens. I'm here to lift them up, empower them, teach them and lead them. But I'm grateful that men are also finding value in what we have to offer. So Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show, is definitely a platform for any business owner, entrepreneur, professional who's just looking to grow, stay relevant. And also, if you are wanting to start your own TV show and podcast and not sure how to go about doing that, I coach businesses and individuals, and how to do that, and how to literally get your foot started off on the right foot, because most of us started off just going out there and had to
Figure it
take
out, right?
that
Yes,
right.
yes, yes. That's a great segment into our segue where I want to talk about. Tell us just a little bit, like, what were some of the struggles that you dealt with when you first got started?
Oh man, when I first got started, it wasn't, there were podcasts out there, but to be honest, they weren't really popular. So it was literally a learn as you go type thing. But me being a perfectionist, I really try to be great at everything that I do. But one of the main struggles was just figuring out, okay, the legality of it, right? Because
Okay.
when you bring folks on, you want to make sure that you have your business, because you have to think of this as a business. So you
Mhm.
want to make sure that you have your business protected. So when I first started out, I didn't have contracts. I didn't have like a thorough photo and video release, but that's something I had to go back and create. Also, I'm the queen of automation. I really strive myself on automating as much as my businesses as I possibly can, because it is multifaceted and I'm pulled in so many different directions. So one of the things that I learned early on is automation, 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 because when I first started out, I was doing all of the email blasts, I was doing all of the follow-ups, I was doing all of the job forms, I was doing everything. So you want your show and your podcast to flow as seamlessly as it possibly can, with you being as hands off as you possibly can. So I
Yeah.
learned very early on
Working
to
smarter, not harder.
exactly, exactly. And it just made everything flow a whole lot better. It freed up a lot of time because I wasn't spending 75 to 80% of my time producing and, just sending out various
Feeding yourself.
information to my guests. Exactly,
Yes, yes.
exactly.
So, two things that she said, ladies and gentlemen, that you should learn, be mindful of is legalities behind podcasting, making sure, and it's not even about podcasting, whatever form of business that you are involved in, is just making sure that you have your paperwork in order, right? It is
Mhm.
having the contracts, again, doesn't make a difference what area that you're focused in. You want to make sure you get those things done. And then secondarily, I think when it comes to automation, what I've learned, what I've been taught, is that anything that you find that you're doing more than 3 times a week might be 3 times a month, but minimally 3 times a month. But if you're repeating that same process 3 times a week, there is a way to automate it. And so you want to look into using services that, again, just like she said, to where you're working smarter and not harder. And you're able to take those, the hours of manual labor and putting that in putting a process in place that frees your time up. So again, she can spend more time doing what she really does well, which is pulling out the stories of the people that come up from her platform. And so again, when I said I loved her whole setup, part of their setup was the automations that happen in the background. And so I'm not there yet, Keeper, but I'm on the way. Just so
You
you know,
gonna get there.
I am on the way, right?
I believe it. I believe it. I know it. I know it. And you will be thankful for it later on.
Oh, yes, yes,
Promise
yes, yes. I see the value in it. I really do. I
you. Yeah.
see the value in it. Being able, this is one of my goals for 2022 is to invest in systems. Again, and so that we can just save on manpower, and I can use my hands, use my brain really to kind of think through a lot, spend more time thinking and less time having to do, so that as I do launch, I'm able to launch more effectively. And so I think there's great value behind all of that. So tell us a little bit. One of the things that you said also is that you are a reverend. So just kind of tell us a little bit about your spirituality. And then I'm kind of curious, what is it? You said, prior to COVID, what did you do prior to COVID? I'm assuming you may have had some type of brick and mortar. I'm not real sure, but I'm kind of curious as to how COVID affected you to where you ended up transitioning into the podcast world. And then of course I'd love to kind of hear about how your coaching and your spiritual life, like how all of that came into play. I've asked a lot, so
Awesome. Not a problem. Well, let's back up to my ordination. I was called into the ministry in 2020. no, excuse me, I was licensed in 2010, and I
Okay.
was called into the ministry in the early 2000s. So it took me a while to really transition into the ordination process, because
Mhm.
through my church, there's a process. You just don't be called and then go automatically to licensure.
Mhm.
So I was recently ordained, but of course it was
Congratulations. Let me
right.
just
Thank
jump
you.
back.
Thank you. I'm super excited about that. I love what I do. I love coaching women, and my one of my ministry is working with the younger women and the young adults within our church.
Mhm.
And whether that looks like, we have programs to where we teach them how to conduct themselves as young women, as ladies, how to maintain a certain standard of self respect and integrity. That's really important to me. Um, but yeah, I grew up in the church. I'm from a small town in Kingstree, South Carolina. So all I know is church.
Mhm.
I'm a Christian. I love people. I love the Lord. I'm a servant, and I serve. I serve no matter where I go, whether that's in the church, outside the church, dealing with the church, not the church. My business is service. So
Mhm.
you know i I just love what I do. And as far as the business, yes, I did have a brick and mortar boutique up until January. um and I have a natural hair care company. My whole company started with the natural hair product line, and
Okay.
then
I
we
did not know that.
Yes, yes. We have a product line that is called Keever Lernise Naturals. We are in the process of a huge rebranding, so I haven't been posting that much on social media, but yeah, we have a natural hair product line we launched in 2018. So I'm super proud of that. And the product line actually transitioned, Tiffany, into the natural boutique. So we had a natural boutique prior to um actually, as of January, I closed the brick and mortar. So
Okay.
it's still going on online,
Okay.
and that is Keever's Boutique and Gift Shop.
Okay.
And
But I did know about. I did know about that part, but I didn't know about the natural hair that you
yeah,
transitioned into that. Okay.
we
Learning a
did.
little bit more
We
about
did.
you.
And the reason, I launched both of those businesses was basically because I was natural, my daughter was natural, and what
Mhm.
I was learning during that process is that there was a lot of products. There's a plethora of natural products out there, right?
Mhm.
But I really couldn't find what I needed to service me and my child's hair at the
Mhm.
same time. So,
Mhm.
out of that frustration and spending a lot of money, that's where Kay Lernice Natural was born. It was birthed out of just not being able to find exactly what I needed.
Okay.
So did my research, and yeah, we launched December of 2018, and super proud of just the progress over the past 3 years that we've experienced. So
Mhm.
yeah, and with the I'm trying to reflect on what you asked, the coaching. So I had a lot of people coming to me in how to launch, their own hair care line, boutique,
Mhm.
how to get their business structured, and that's really how my coaching and consulting firm came about. It really came about just a passion of directing people on exactly what they needed to do to be able to make sure that their businesses had a solid foundation, had that solid footing. And just out of that, just, sharing and pouring into people for free, I just decided to add that aspect to our business. And because of the coaching and consulting firm and the COVID hitting us, Kiva's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show, was born because we all needed just that space to be able to keep our businesses moving forward. So that's a roundabout way of just giving you a brief synopsis on how my multifaceted corporation came about.
Okay, no, I love it. I love it. So you recently decided to close the brick and mortar down and go to
Yeah.
an online completely. So what was the driving force behind making that decision? What made you feel as if, hey, this is the right time and this is the right strategy that we need to use in order to reach more people? Because I'm sure at the end of the day, you're doing that again. You see that as a more effective way to be able to continue to grow your business. Tell us I'm sure there are several people out there again as a result of COVID, they're in that position to where they need to make a decision. Do I continue with the brick and mortar? Do I transition to strictly online? Tell us a little bit about like what drove you to making that decision, and what kind of gave you the peace in your heart that now was the right time to actually do it.
Yeah. Well, to be quite honest, I went back and forth with that for several months. But at the end of the day, for me, it was what made sense. You have to be honest with yourself and you have to be honest with your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And we just wasn't getting the foot traffic
Mm-hmm.
due to the pandemic, rightfully
Mm-hmm.
so. A lot of people have transitioned from foot traffic to shopping online,
Mm-hmm.
so it just made more sense, number wise, to close the brick and mortar and just keep the online presence going. Because to be honest, when you think about opening a brick and mortar, and that's something people have to be realistic about, you really have to sit down and compute what your overhead looks like. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you have that brick and mortar, you have overhead, you have staffing, you have utilities, inventory. So at the end of the day, it just no longer made sense. Like my numbers was not adding up. And you have to be honest with yourself and you have to make sure that you stay on top of your demographics, you stay on top of your analytics, and you have a good understanding of how your brick and mortar runs. And because if it no longer is profitable for you, you are going to have to start shifting and pivoting in your business. And that's exactly what I did. It just was not producing what it was prior to the pandemic.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
it just
That
made
makes
more sense to
sense.
just have it online versus the brick and mortar.
Yes, yes, yes. So, again, what you don't measure, you cannot manage, right? So
Hmm.
if you're not
Exactly.
measuring, taking a look at your numbers, your analytics, just like you said, comparing what you are bringing in through your online presence compared to the physical come in present, when they don't balance out or they're not producing the results that you need them to do, you have to be okay making that hard decision. And I love that you actually said that you struggled with that decision for a while, right? Because I feel like that's a good segue into your affirmation. And your affirmation talks about basically, making the decision, right? And making a confident decision and then casting aside your doubt, right? And I'm sure, again, with your affirmation, there was you had to make the decision on what you were going to do, how you were going to kind of walk in that. So, with that, we're going to pull your affirmation up on the screen for you. And then I would love for you to kind of talk to our audience about your affirmation. So again, just to kind of set her up again, our next affirmation journal that's coming out is called Affirmations for a CEO on the Move. And Kiva is definitely a CEO on the move, right? So she and 24 other women, CEO females, have come together and they're sharing their success stories. They are sharing the affirmations that are personal to them, that have helped them to have the right mindset and the right heart so they can stay on task, stay on focus, and not be troubled, or not be troubled, but actually not necessarily deter from the goal, deter from the plan, deter from what they believe is supposed to be their end result. And so with that, Kiva, take a few minutes out. Feel free, just kind of share, your heart behind I will inhale confidence and exhale doubt. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Yes, my affirmation, as Tiffany just stated, is I will inhale confidence and exhale doubt. And it's so often we find ourselves doubting everything that goes on around us, right? Whether that's in our personal relationships, in our businesses, it's very easy to really find yourself in that spirit of doubt. So I want to just encourage the women that's listening to the sound of my voice to understand that doubt comes very easily to us, right? Doubt is something that you don't even have to, train for. It's something that if you're not careful, it will completely encompass you. But I want you to really take this opportunity to practice confidence. Just start to speak confidently over every matter of your life, starting with your personal life, starting with your business. We have to train our minds how to focus and how to move and how to think creatively concerning your business. Um, it's very important to make sure that you do not lose sight and that you're constantly learning and you're constantly growing. So make it a point to acknowledge your wins. That is one way that you can start to move forward and how you start to develop that innate confidence, right? Acknowledge those wins. Sometimes it's very easily to get bogged down in everything that is falling apart surrounding us, everything that is not going great in our lives, in our businesses, that we forget the little things that we are doing great at. So take those opportunities to acknowledge your wins in your life and in your businesses, and that will also help to increase that confidence, right? Another thing you can also do to help boost that confidence when we say, I will inhale confidence. Set those realistic goals, right? When we're setting goals, we need to make sure that we're setting those what we call the SMART goals, the specific, the measurable, the attainable, the relevant, and the time bounding goals, right? Make sure that you are taking those goals because sometimes things in our lives can feel as is so overwhelming till we start to lose focus. And that's the purpose of affirmations, as Tiffany stated earlier, to make sure that we are staying focused on those goals and on those tasks. So when you are thinking about moving forward in your businesses, just make those smart, attainable goals so that you can easily create those winnable moments in your life and in your business. One final thing I will add in increasing your confidence is also making sure that you're surrounding yourself with a group of people that is going to encourage you, that's going to speak life into you, that is going to just embrace you and support you. You want to double check and also do inventory on who's in your inner circles, right? That's so important. You don't want to make sure that you have nobody in there that is going to be tearing you down and speaking negatively over you, because that's not going to help you at all. So double check and take inventory in who is in your inner circles, and if you follow all of these, you will find yourself inhaling confidence and exhaling doubt.
Oh, I love that. She has just given you guys so much meat, so much meat. I just want to piggyback on the very last thing she said because I just feel like it's so important. One of the things, Kiva, that I always say to myself, I call my hearts, the people that sit closest to me, like those are the people who are they're my board of directors. Those are the people, that get to see the real Tiffany, right? They see the doubts, they see my struggles. They also see the things that I'm really, really excited about, and I can trust them to give me the right feedback. But very much like she's saying, you want to be careful about the people that you let sit at the table of your heart. They should be there to empower you, to educate you, right? To motivate you, to inspire you, right? They should also be there to correct you because sometimes we need correction, right? But then even with that, there's a style, there's a method, there's a way to do that that still empowers you to be able to move to your next step. So I love that. Thank you so much, Keeper, for coming on and sharing. And so again, we're going to transition out of the show today. Again, I've thoroughly enjoyed having you on. For those people in our audience that would like to follow you, where would they find you, Kiva?
Yeah, you can definitely find me on all social media under Keever Lernise Murdaugh. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and about to be TikTok too. So Look me up, Keever Lernise Murdaugh.
Okay, very good. I have not made the transition onto TikTok yet. I'm still a little nervous about it, but eventually I might follow you over there on that side of things as well. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to get a copy of the Affirmations of a CEO on the Move affirmation journal, it'll be a couple of weeks before we will move into our pre-sales, but you can go to uncommoncourage.cc/affirm CEO in order to order your pre-sale copy. But what I really like for you to do, I want you to find Kiva. I want you to go directly to her on her Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Connect with her and you can buy a copy directly from her as one of our contributing authors. Okay, so you see her contact information on the screen. Be sure to follow up with her, even if you're looking for some coaching in regard to your business, in regard to your TV show, possible podcast. She is a business strategist. She is a coach. And so you want to make sure that you connect with her, maybe ask a few questions, even if you're not ready to launch now, just kind of doing your research on the front end. I know that she'd be very happy to connect with you. So with that, this brings in the conclusion of the CEO Corner. Thank you again, Keever, for coming on and sharing with our ladies. Looking forward to doing more with you in the future. And so I would say goodbye for now, and I look forward to connecting with everyone again soon.